Oh, thank you. Beware. Of course. No, it's not a clip-on. But you bring up a very good point. I share with people my life journey, my journey of faith. And it hasn't always been, I'm walking in faith. Sometimes I've been walking lately like, that's why this happened in my life. I was born and raised in Beloit, Wisconsin. Attended grade schools there and high schools and had a wonderful family. My spiritual journey, as I shared, I was a spiritual mutt. Born and raised in the Baptist church. Unfortunately, our Baptist church didn't have a youth program. And so I went to the Methodist church down the hill, where they had a very vibrant program and learned how to canoe and things along that lines. And I married into the Lutheran faith, was homogenized, I call it, by the military chaplains. I'm a veteran of the United States Air Force. And then coming back home to Beloit, attended church, Lutheran church in Beloit, and later bounced around from this church, that church, back to First Baptist, back to First Con, back to here, back to there. I even led some worship services at a little church in Rockton called Church by the Side of the Road, for those of you that may know that. That, of course, was the wedding chapel many years ago, and it's still a little church family. Growing up, I had a drug problem. Usually when I mention this at a hospice family's home, they start looking at each other and wondering where the silverware is and making sure that everything's put away. My mom and dad, yes, exactly. clutch your purse. Mom and dad drug us every place. If you understand that, they drug us every place. Thank you. That's awesome. Thank you. They drug us to church choir. Tuesday nights, I never saw Happy Days back in the day. Yeah. Then a group in Beloit was called the YMCA Boys Choir. That was Monday night. And of course, that was 100 voices. We toured the country and had wonderful experiences there. We had things called family reunions back then, where gatherings, you come together with people, some people you hadn't seen since last family reunion. And yet you bonded with each other and shared in some stories from the years past. And so on and so forth through the life journey. The music in my life helped me attain an A in junior high and high school. So that helped with the GPA, for those that are struggling. So the life journey, as I sit and sing hymns to a family, with a family, is one of those that was life. Much like we're just reading in the scripture about the stones, we are the living stones of this church. You folks have come gathering this Sunday to be in fellowship with your church family. You're having a reunion weekly, and that's awesome. That's awesome. As I continue, people ask me, well, how can you sit and be a chaplain with a family that maybe they don't believe? St. Francis of Assisi had shared a quote, and it is preach the gospel often. And if necessary, use words. And it is with that. I walk into homes. My clinical pastoral education training was done over here at Lakeland Hospital for about 14, 15 weeks. I would travel over here. And for those that may not know what the CPE class is, it's a class where you're introduced into a hospital setting as to how to provide that spiritual support to someone in a hospital bed and to the family. Again, my living stone period. I had to step out of who I was. Now, mind you, somebody would have told me 15, 17 years ago, this is your journey. This is where you're headed. I was said, no. That's not my journey. But I accepted that. As it is shared in the early part of the Bible, we are the clay on the potter's wheel. And yes, through my life journey, these events have helped shape who I am. One of my careers outside of the military, I put in 34 years at the Rockton Post Office. I was a clerk. I started out as a clerk carrier, so I was out walking in the mushy, cold, dingy days, wondering if I am on the right path. I had those questions. Then I was promoted, shall we say, from a clerk carrier to a full-time clerk. So I worked inside, stayed nice and warm, and had the first round of cookies that people would bring in for us, you know. So it is that life journey of that period. I had a family from Beloit, you know, my Beloit family. I have a family from Rockton and throughout the community. We are those living rocks. We've had experiences. Some have had more experiences than others. Some younger than us have had more experiences too. But it is true that walk, God will walk with us. For it says so at the end of that scripture verse about for whatever you had gained on earth, you will have in heaven. Whatever you lose in heaven. And it is. You know, lately it's been the Be Kind movement. And it is that. Yes, my mom and daddy taught me to open that door for others. I struggled with this automatic door coming in this morning. It's like, oh, okay, I'll hit the button, you know. And so often I want to be a part of that. Be kind, help others. And it is, no matter our ages, we have those journeys. We have those experiences. Listen to those experiences of others. For as you continue on your journey, I remember someone had done this. In my role, I've had a couple of experiences where, of course, as a chaplain, no thanks, we're good. You know, it's the response that I may get from families requesting support or not requesting. You know, at the admission, they'll answer the question, oh yeah, we feel well supported. But they can't identify with a church, which is okay. They have their personal beliefs. One was a hunter. He would give thanks to his God for those blessings of whatever he had hunted and his life. One gentleman I would visit on the west side of Beloit, over towards Broadhead, actually. So it was a good stone's throw that way. He declined my visits every time I would call. Every time I would call. Finally, one of our CNAs worked in with him to say, just have Mark come over. He didn't come with the big black book and the bolt of lightning saying, this is how we're going to do religion. He came as a guest. I came into his home. Now, mind you, we had our own different opinions. He was a Packer fan, and I'm a Bear fan. So anyhow, it was through that we built our relationship. He then found out that I was military. He was Army. I was a flyboy, Air Force. Things kind of started to build together. He found out that I was in food service in the military. Yeah, I slung the hash and overcooked the eggs and things like that, yes. He too was in food service. He also found out that I was stationed in Alaska. He was stationed in Alaska, about 150 miles away from where I was stationed. About the same time. Still, things were pretty, it was thin ice. It was thin ice. But as he moved from his home over to the facility here in, is it Delavan or Elkhorn? Right there. He wanted me to visit him there. Well, naturally, after I got done with my morning class at Lakeland Hospital, I would come over and visit with him. He could not smoke on the grounds of the care facility, so he had to wheelchair himself across the street to a dairy, a little dairy there. As we started our conversations, I would get there a little earlier to help him get across the street because it's a busy intersection right there. And so we'd talk and talk. One day, my wife and I, we had gone up to, what's that place in Milwaukee? Oh, Wrigley North. Wrigley North. Okay, Miller Park at the time for a Cub game. Boo again. Yes, he's like, I'm just making out all kinds of friends over here, you know? But it is with this. I had an umbrella because we had tailgated at the park. I still had it in the bed of the truck. This poor gentleman sitting in a wheelchair, sitting there on they call it a cushion, a gel cushion, 1-inch gel cushion to help alleviate any kind of skin breakdowns. Mind you, he was quite warm. I said to him, hold on a second. I'll be right back. I went and got the umbrella out of the truck, popped it up, and we sat under it. We sat talking more and more. Finally, he asked me, he says, can you bring communion? I said, I certainly can. So visits, we'd share in communion. 3 weeks later or so, you mind if I invite some of my friends over to have communion with you? I said, oh, let me come next week with more communion cups. And so it was. Through that kind, patient journey, not sitting there with the book, thumping them, through the example is how we go forward. I have one now. I've been visiting with her 3 years. She lost her mother in our program, and she's 56. And we just started talking about God. All the while, she had her Native American focus that she had in her journey, and her own spiritualistic approaches to life. And here we are. Now, mind you, sometimes it takes a little while to get that conversation going. And you have to be patient enough. So as we go forward in our life journey, you are the living stones. Whether at 87 years old, 43, 12, we are the living stones by what we practice, what we show outward to others. The musical part of a church service, that's part of a ministry. You have your own roles within the church. You know, whether you say the cogs of this machine, however you want to put it, for those that are mechanically inclined. At times the minister is the cheerleader saying, go team, go team. But it is through our life journey that we find the people that we share our faith with. Again, not in our actual words, but maybe in our actions. So with that, go team. Go team. Blessings. Now, mind you,